Welcome back, talking Celtics here. He is Matt Phipps, and we are breaking down the C's 1 week ahead of the All-Star game. It's flown by, hasn't it? Hey, a big win today against OKC, extending that winning streak. Marcus Smart sealing it with that steal. What'd you like about the effort today in this game?
A couple things. It was a game of runs.
Yeah.
OKC started out hot. Then the Boston bench came in, went on a 10-0 run. Then OKC struck right back. Gallo was playing particularly well for OKC. They sustained that. Crawled back in the second half. What I really liked was the way that Tatum took over in the third quarter. That was particularly encouraging. And then down the stretch at the end of the game, Kemba hitting a couple big shots, Tatum getting to line, and obviously Marcus stealing the game, taking cookies and winning it for them.
Quintessential Marcus Smart play. You mentioned Jason Tatum. It appears he's growing up in front of our eyes, still just 21 years old. We know he got the All-Star bid, but what have you seen from him in the last month or so that he's elevated his game?
Well, he's made the leap. What we've been waiting for is happening more and more consistently. There's so many Celtics fans when we're watching the games in the past, because we've seen him capable of such great things. Sometimes you see him settle for three-pointers or long twos that you didn't like when he could really get to the basket. So he's getting to the line a lot more. He's also taking over when they need him to, especially with some of the injuries and stuff. He went from being a borderline all-star to being a clear all-star. The NBA.com had a list of MVP candidates this past week. He was 9th on that.
Wow.
So he's looking like the best player on the team and really playing tremendously.
Celtic fans a little discouraged about Danny Ainge sitting idle during the trade deadline. That's sort of been his MO the last few years. What did you make of the Celtics not making a move? Ainge pretty much said there wasn't a good move to be had. Did you want them to do something?
Yeah, well, there's two schools of thought on it. So the first one is the league feels wide open right now.
Right.
The Celtics feel like they have a puncher's chance to win the Eastern Conference and maybe be in there in the finals. And people want them to take a swing at it, and felt like by standing pat, by not getting Clint Capella or Bertrands from Washington, that they could have been more aggressive there and just got some of that front court presence that we were hoping that they would have. On the other side of things, they're playing really, really well right now. The wings that they have are playing tremendously. The guard plays great. The fact of the matter is, one of the teams to beat is the Clippers, and they have a similar issue where they don't have a great center in place.
Right.
So would I have liked them to try to go get Capella? Yes, but at the same time, we're not privy to what type of offers they got. So if they wanted Marcus Smart, that's a hard deal to take. You don't know, and there was a lot of players on the team that felt untouchable. So this is where they are. We're rolling with it. Let's see what happens, and let's also see if there's any buyout candidates. Maybe they pick up Tristan Thompson.
Right. All right. So the poo-poo plateau of Daniel Tice, Robert Williams, and Enes Kanter, is that good enough at that position? It's
where the Celtics are weak. You know, I think Tice has been encouraging. I think Kanter gives them a little something on the offensive end, but at the same time, that's where they're weak. That's where they're flawed, and they have to go through the Bucks, who have Giannis, but then they also have the two Lopez brothers.
Right.
You have Embiid, who's struggling right now, but if he works himself back into shape, will be a real problem come playoff time. And then on top of that, if they make it to the finals, you may be looking at Anthony Davis. So it's where they're flawed, but if they can impose their style of play once we get to the playoffs, then it won't matter.
Yeah, and bigs are less impactful as they were a decade or two ago. All right, how do you see the East breaking down right now, in the NBA for that matter, as we head into the All-Star break?
It's particularly exciting. The Raptors are on a 14-game winning streak. The Celtics have won 10 of the last 11. Those teams are playing really strong. The Pacers just got Victor Oladipo back, and then you've got the Bucks on pace to win 70-plus games. So those teams are all looking really strong. The Heat made a couple moves to make a push here. And the Sixers are really struggling. Now, the Sixers, it's particularly Embiid, does not look good right now. He's settling for threes. He's not being aggressive going to the basket. There's some concern there for Sixers fans.
Charles Barkley called them the Cleveland Browns of the NBA.
But I think I'm optimistic that they will put it together, and I still think that they are perhaps the biggest threat to the Celtics, and I know that's an unpopular opinion because you have the Bucks playing as well as they are. I just think they're a matchup problem, and that's kind of how the playoff series break down. From one game to the matchups really, really matter, and I just don't like the way the Sixers match up with the Celtics with all of their size.
One of the LA teams coming out of the West?
I think it's sort of like I think with a lot of it's rock, paper, scissors. So I actually think that the Clippers, I think they just play particularly well against the Lakers. I would pick the Clippers to beat the Lakers.
Okay.
If the Celtics have to play either of those teams, I'd rather have them play the Clippers,
right,
because of the size again. But I think it's going to be the Battle of LA that ultimately decides who the NBA Finals champion is this year.
That'll be pretty cool. All right, he's Matt Phipps talking Celtics with us on this Sunday Night Sports Wrap. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.